Well, hello again, folks. I've just gone live again with another Coffee with Craig, and today I'm going to be talking about the next Prime Minister for the UK. Who will it be? What are my thoughts? I know that a lot of you have been sort of asking me and said, "Oh, want to know what Craig thinks about this?" And it's going to be. It's been quite interesting to pick up some of your thoughts as well, and your ideas as you join me live. So I'm just coming on now. So I've gone sort of randomly live. So I'm waiting for a few of you to join me. So if you do join me, do have your questions ready. So like I say, I'm going to sort of just look into some of the thoughts about who's going to be the next Tory leader, who's going to be in charge after we've seen the end of Boris Johnson. But just at the start, you know, I do these regularly. I noticed a couple of my sort of predictions have started to happen on other fronts. I just mentioned those. I said about Sri Lanka, didn't I? I saw a huge explosion of fire in Sri Lanka, and their equivalent of our number 10 was burnt to the ground, with the Prime Minister's house burnt to the ground and riots happening there. So, I mean, that is certainly explosive, metaphorically, but also physically. You know, it was alight and now it's been occupied, just like they occupied Capitol Hill. So let's see what happens there. I'll probably talk about those things another time. And I've got a terrible cough today. Jane and I had real bad flu, so we just gotten over it. So I thought I'd come on anyway. The other thing was, what else was there? Was something else came up. Oh, yeah, the strikes and things I was talking about. It looks like it's going to be absolute chaos through August, as I said. And now we're hearing about the rail strikes coming out and the rest. We're seeing the potential threat to no confidence votes in the House of Commons, shaky government and all the rest of it. So anyway, a lot of you have asked me, what do I think? What do I think? So I'll tell you what some of the thoughts. Rishi Sunak, first of all, he's kind of the everybody's golden boy in the past, saying that he's going to be the big contender for the prime minister. He sat kind of quietly in the background, didn't he, and let Johnson sink, and then lo and behold, suddenly he announces his candidacy. So my feeling with him, you know, I look at him and I just don't see a man I can trust. I don't know what you guys think, but he comes across as all sweetness and light. Oh, this blessed cough. Sorry, I'm going to keep going though. He comes across as all sweetness and light and everything like this, and being a very clever man. But he's just like the rest of them, isn't he, really? He's just another one that's got all sorts of business interests that I think worry me a lot. And I think would worry most voters too. So although I think he'll probably be somebody that will get to the final last two, possibly. But I just don't think the voters would like him. And I think although people in Parliament might like him, I'm not sure that the people that make the decisions, the groundswell of the Conservative Party, whoever, those 100,000 people that make the vote, I don't think it'd be popular enough to make it to the final hurdle, you know? Similarly, excuse me, my favorite little cup that I made with the kids once, my Rat Studios cup. The other big contender, of course, is Penny Mordaunt. And she, again, I just get the feeling she's going to be unpopular with the people that make the decisions about things. She's the kind of the front runner with Rishi Sunak. And I don't know what you feel about her. What do you think about her as a person, guys? Give us your comments, because she doesn't give me a feeling of anybody that's particularly sincere. In fact, all of them. I mean, when you look at all of them, what a list of people we've got to choose from. Sajid Javid, look at him. I mean, another man. Would you buy a used car off him? You know, he's another one that seems to say one thing and do another, you know. Priti Patel is someone that has got radical ideas, but would be absolutely poison as a prime minister, even if people agree with her extremist views about immigration and so forth, you know, you could not electable. I don't think most people would find her electable. Jeremy Hunt, another one who I feel is another one that I just don't feel I can trust. You know, I just feel he's always been one that says one thing and does another. I mean, like all of them, you know. So where do I stand on this? Who do I think is going to be the final contenders? And my thoughts are that Liz Truss will make it to the final, be the next PM. I think she will actually have a final battle between her and Rishi Sunak, and I think it'll be a very close call. Actually, I think it'll be extremely close, and in a way, it's a choice of two evils. And I think my gut feeling is that monetary policy is going to dominate this, and Liz Truss would probably have the type of right-wing type of monetary policies that will appeal most to the both the voters, I think, and also to her own party. Now, as you can see, these type of things are quite difficult to do on a psychic level because, frankly, I've got too much information and there's a bit too much of the possibility of my own mind getting involved in this, because the best predictions that I make are usually things that have come completely out of the blue, where I have no knowledge of it and I see something a bit vague and I get it right or wrong. But usually the more obscure it is, the more likely I get it right. So there's a lot of factors here. So I'm a bit worried about making these predictions in case my own thoughts have come involved in this. But I think Liz Truss will make it as the final to become our next prime minister. Whether she'll be any good or not is another question. I mean, do you think she's suitable? You know, I don't think any of them are suitable. Do you think Liz Truss could hold a good argument? Could she really hold down not just Keith Starmer, but whoever might replace him? Because I don't think he's going to be in for long, you know. I mean, if they went for a general election, which will be a temptation, and I think we will get a general election sooner rather than later, I think they'll have to cement their they'll have to cement their role. They'll have to cement their role, whoever takes control. And if they do go for a general election, you know, they need to do it while Keith Starmer is still in power, because he's not particularly strong. He's more popular, but if they had a strong leader there, I think Yvette Cooper, I've said before, may become a contender for the leader of the Labour Party one day. I think she would be a much stronger contender against someone like Liz Truss. So supposing that scenario is something that could happen, and it's something I kind of get a feeling could be something that might happen in the future. I don't know how soon. Maybe it's after Christmas and into next year, but I get the feeling that there's gonna be some big changes in both of the parties. So I also, so there's other things as well. So I'm going to have another. So that's my thoughts, because a lot of you have asked me. You've all been emailing me saying, "Craig, can you tell us?" And I think, well, to be honest, I don't really know. Not with an absolute 100% certainty with this, but these are my thoughts. That was the feeling. I don't like any of these people I've mentioned. I don't like Liz Truss either. So so it's difficult. So hopefully it's not being indicated by my personal preferences, because I'm making a prediction about something I would rather not see happen politically. Okay, let's have a look at some of your thoughts. What was this one you're saying here? You had predicted an assassination. Does Japanese former PM fit this, or could it be someone else? No, this is another one I think that was that I was talking about. That was the shock one that I talked about. So I think that's probably something I got there, Jay. I think it's always very difficult with these things, because with a psychic thing, it would be nice to be able to nail it right down, wouldn't it? But no, this is one that things keep popping up in the news, and I thank you guys for letting me know if I get things right and things. All snakes. Yeah, Lee, I agree with you, you know. And also around the world, and Trudeau's another one I dislike a great deal, I'm afraid. But I haven't got my predictions quite right with him, because I saw him going a long time ago. And again, you know, these are thoughts, Craig. All them people won't win except someone who's been in the background, and that's a very strong possibility. I know, you know, people emerge out of nowhere, and we think, you know, like Theresa May. I thought, who's Theresa May when she came to power? Never heard of her. She didn't seem to be in the news all the time. And then suddenly she's thrust upon us. I see some of you don't like what I'm saying there. Sorry, but that's what I'm picking up. But I do think I actually agree here. Actually, was what it will be a woman. It will be a woman that's going to be definitely the next PM. It's definitely a woman. So if I'm wrong with Liz Truss, it's definitely a woman. Like I said, I'm not sure about Penny Mordaunt. She's a possible contender for that. She's definitely high up there as a potential person. Suella Braverman isn't there as well? I don't think she stand a chance, frankly. But you know, it's a woman. I feel it's a woman, right? Someone's agreeing with me here. I think I agree. Liz Truss also thought that one would be the next prime minister. Yeah. Well, there we go, James. So we're obviously going to have lots of different views here. Always really interesting to hear your comments. And make some comments after this has gone live, please, because I think this is really interesting debate. There's a lot of self-serving individuals. You know, a lot of people actually, I've been told that a number of politicians actually follow this channel just to get the feeling of the public mood, because the comments you make, I think, are pretty raw, actually. And I think if I was a politician, I would look at channels like this and look at the comments and think, yeah, this is the public pulse, you know, because this isn't political. You know, this isn't a right or left wing channel or anything like that. This is purely us speculating about what we think, particularly from a clairvoyant point of view, isn't it? So that's a funny one. Good God, not Hunt, please. Yeah, I know. I would say the same with all of them, actually. I think we've not seen the full end of Boris Johnson either, I tell you, because although he's going to be caretaker for a while, I get the feeling that he's going to lead a bit of a rebellion later on in the Conservative Party. I see him raising the flag again, actually, and I just feel that Boris will become one of the most a politician. You know, prime ministers are usually asked to sort of keep their nose out of things once things have been decided. I don't think he will, and I get the sense that something's going to happen with Boris Johnson over Scotland, because we're going to see in the coming months and weeks, even we're going to see Scotland again try to make a big bid for independence, really push hard for it, because frankly this is their last chance. They need to make a move while people are weak, you know, while governments are weak in the UK. And Boris Johnson was there, of course, for them, was wonderful. They wanted someone they could hate, you know. Boris Johnson was quite easily hateable person. You either love him or you hate him. So they could play on that. Liz Truss is going to be a much more difficult contender to vilify. So I think they're going to see a lot of that in the coming months, and a lot of blame pointing because of the recession and that Scotland could stand on its own. You know, let's see some of your other comments, guys. What are you saying there? I'm sure politicians do follow your channel. I know some do, actually, because I actually do know a few politicians high up, and one did say to me that they follow me, and I was really surprised. But I think this is the sort of place you get a sort of a temperature of the human position at the moment, you know, rather than what we see on the news, which is all skewered, isn't it? The BBC skewered, every channel seems to pick a side, and there's no middle ground. So there we go. We've got another comment here on Liz Truss. I feel Liz Truss has more experience and known globally. Well, that's true. She certainly got out there with her roles globally, very much so. Penny has made some very unpopular statements and now denies them. Couldn't agree more. And I don't think we've seen the end of Boris either. No, I think we're going to see a lot more a revival, because he will not let go of power easily. He didn't, did he? But I mean, even when he's pushed out of power, he's still going to want to have an influence there. And of course, still has quite a strong following. He saw himself as the next Churchill, a sort of a Churchill stroke Thatcher. Thatcher thought herself as a bit of a Churchill too, didn't she, really? And he's not going to let go very easily. I see a lot of people coming in from all over the world now again. Hello there from Hong Kong again. So, yeah, we must do some more on Hong Kong. Probably a good time of day to do one. Yeah, and thank you for those of you that I know that also talking about my website. Some of you from Hong Kong have been having trouble booking me on Zoom, I've noticed. If you do get any faults when you try to book my Zoom readings, do please let me know so I can try to iron out these irritating bugs we've got. We've got them all round at the moment, including at the studio itself, but we're getting there gradually. Yeah, I'm not sure about the Canadian stuff yet. Here we go. This is a big one, isn't it? Will the inflation go down with a new PM? No, I don't think it will. I think they will try to stimulate the economy. But, you know, I'm seeing ahead real worries, particularly with property, mortgages going up. You know, these were awful in the time when I remember Norman Lamont and people, they were announcing changes the interest rate every 5 minutes, and it meant every month your mortgage went up again, and that can be really difficult because people live, you know, particularly nowadays, where we have to take huge deposits, and we have these awful type of mortgages where, you know, you pay more later. There's not much room for maneuver. I think we're going to see a lot of repossessions, and I think we're going to see some very, very unpopular things having to be done with, you know, even though unemployment's low at the moment, I think the only way out of it might be unemployment, you know, to change the way it all works. And, you know, so it's a very dangerous period ahead, I feel, and a very dangerous period ahead in terms of unions. You know, we're going to go back to the old style strikes and things like that. So here in the UK, I think we've got some pretty awful stuff. I see you guys coming in from Australia, and I can't really go into the Australian stuff at the moment, or the news, or the Canadian stuff. I'd rather do those as a separate thing. So I see all of you talking about Trudeau and things like that. So any other comments about the British situation? Because that's what I'm doing on this particular video. We'll do another one later. Or any comments you want me to ask on other thoughts here? You know, be quite interesting to see how it does pan out in the end, doesn't it? So you prefer Truss over Sunak? I don't think there's any chance for that ever to happen, actually, even if we had in power somebody that was very strongly pro-Europe. I think the sever has happened. I think it would be very difficult to go back. And like I've said with my predictions about the EU for the future, I feel the EU will ultimately break up, even though we might see possibly Ukraine join the EU for different type of reasons, because it's being protected type of reasons. I think ultimately we see splits in the EU and a division between German EU and the rest. You know, there's two different. I've talked about that before. Yeah, you see, this is a problem, Peter, isn't it? It's everywhere. It's endemic. I mean, we all look at our own newscasts of our own countries, but you look in Canada, you look in America, you look in Australia, all the Western democracies have the same problems with high taxation, high inflation, high debt. I mean, you know, with what me and Jane do, I seem to have had endless tax bills these last few months. And I look at it all and I think, well, it's okay paying your tax. Nobody minds paying tax. We need all the things in society, but they take it all. You know, you save some money up. You think, hey, I'm just getting there. And they take the lot, don't they? And it's the same for everybody, particularly if you're a small businessman of some sort, which I suppose as a medium you are because you're self-employed. It does get very worrying about how any smaller business particularly can cope. And then you see all these other businesses around that don't pay any tax, you know, and there's a lot of resentment. You know, why should I pay tax when Google don't pay tax? People will think. So I think we'll see quite a rise of the things such as the black economy, and this is something I think will be rather bad for the future. You know, people paying cash everywhere. Yeah, I did. Yeah, German and France split in the EU. This is something I've talked about before. I'll also come back to that, and also put inflation at 17 to 17-8%. You know, we are going to see I think these are going to be serious issues. In a way, normally the Conservative Tories usually do well when they've got a battle to do on economic things. But I don't think people's patience is gonna start wearing thin, you know. And this so-called red wall, I think we're going to start seeing that crumble pretty badly, and unless something is really seriously done, you know. And that's, you know. And Sunak, we're talking about here, is fine. Sunak's profile too financial. Prefer someone more balanced and also hawkish to totalitarian countries. Agreed. You know, when I look at all the politicians and you're watching them all putting their pitches to be, you know, some of them are so cheesy. Some of the stuff they put up is so cheesy and it's so artificial and so advertising agency done. I mean, all you really need from a politician, I always think, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. You know, you can say something quite bland, but if you put it in terms of, if you've got emotion in what you think about, if you genuinely project what you really believe and what you know in your heart to be true, people will listen to you and follow you. And it's as simple as that. You know, they're not worried about the details about this percentage point and that percentage point and things like that, and whether they did this in the past or that. You know, they just want inspiration. If you can just inspire people, they'll follow you. You know, and that can be done by bad people and good. You know, we see totalitarian leaders that can inspire hate. But if we got someone that can inspire hope, that's what we need. Because the world has been through so difficult times, hasn't it? Really, we've had COVID. Now we've all had to cancel our holidays. Now everybody can go on holiday. They're all going to get cancelled again. Everybody's had new business plans, for example, wanted to open up shops and things. All that fell apart for so many people. You know, you meet people when you do the readings. You think, people said, I just got started. We opened first day, we opened our lovely new shop and COVID struck and we had to shut down and now we're ruined. You know, and everybody in one degree or another has been suffering from all those awful things, haven't we? So what we want, you know, we want hope. I know they play on the idea of hope. I mean, Obama played on the idea of hope as a theme, but not artificial advertising agency type of nonsense and slogans. We just want someone who speaks from their heart. You know, and when they're wrong and they admit it. But with our politicians, what do we get? We just seem to get a load of flannel, as my granddad used to say, a load of tripe, a load of baloney. And I think all you need is someone honest. And if someone honest came along amongst all these horrible people that we see out there, their light would outshine everybody else. And here's another thought about this. This is dangerous for Europe. She could start World War III. Yeah, she is a dodgy person like that. I got to agree with you. She could be. I think she's a person that could be very much knee-jerk reactions. And you know, in times when a country's in trouble, patriotism is always something people like to wave a flag for. I mean, when Britain got into trouble before and the Falkland Islands happened, you know, Thatcher came to power covered in Union Jack bunting, didn't she? Because that brought everybody together. Nothing like a war or a conflict to get everybody's minds focused. Dangerous stuff. And she could be quite a dangerous person, I think, in many respects. I certainly don't like her. I'm sure I'll be having to tune into her quite a lot with this. It's a shame many of them have bowed out, actually. There's quite a few people in the background. Who do you think? Who would you like? Who's not? Who should have declared? Who do you think should have declared on this, you know? Did he? Jacob Rees-Mogg coming. Well, that's quite important, actually, for the far right. And obviously, people have pretty divided views about Jacob Rees-Mogg because, I mean, he speaks his mind, but at the same time, he's he kind of comes across as the Eton Boys sort of style again. You know, he'd be definitely better off with the top hat, that guy. Though I do find some of his stuff amusing. But again, you know, I think that's why I think it's good. We'll see this happening. So that's my gut feeling with it. So I see you're discussing things amongst yourselves here as well. And a few EU sort of thoughts. Yeah, this is the problem. It's going to take. You see, this is unfinished business, isn't it? I mean, this was the EU is definitely so much unfinished business there. and causing tremendous stress for the British Union, as it were, isn't it? I mean, putting stress on Northern Ireland is still, and it's still giving Scotland a feeling that it can go its own way because we'll be rescued by the EU and can join the EU, which is a fallacy. It can't happen. But you know, these are kind of things that we need to get everything back on track. Because it's like in anything you do in life, isn't it? Too, if you're unfocused, you get tired and exhausted. You have to have a clear kind of focus in life, in your own personal life, in order to make things work. As soon as you start getting unfocused and you start multitasking or trying to do too many things at once, you fall to bits. That's why the unfinished business needs to be sorted out. And I think we've been floundering for a long time in the UK. Actually, we're not as divided as America, but we've still got a very divided society, and we need someone to come in who's going to try to bridge the differences. You know, one of the phrases I love that's just seeing one of you saying there, that one of you I see is a Sai Baba devotee, but one of the things that I will say, particularly with the Sai Baba type idea, is unity within diversity. This should be the keynote, I think, for most societies nowadays, because we are diverse societies, and we're getting divisions. We've got to find common ground, both with politics, both with religion, both with including things such as money. You know, middle class is it's essential for a democracy. Horrible as it sounds, middle class, but we do need that middle class. We can't have too much of division between the rich and poor, otherwise we see awful things happening in the world. And if you go bust, you know, look what happens in Sri Lanka. Things go bust there, the whole lot collapses, you know, and we are perhaps in a danger like that too. I see you've got you love him. But there we go. And I see still a lot of dislike for Trudeau out there. There's interesting thoughts, you know. I've already told you, Kathy, I think it's going to be Liz Truss ultimately. It will be a battle out between Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak at the end of the day. That's the final battle. And I'll have to give some thought. You know, if it does happen, I'll be interested to think, who will Liz Truss have as her cabinet, and I'm going to give some thought to that and come up with some thoughts about that later on. So anyway, I thought I'd come on just as a short. This is just a short one, really, just, you know, because I felt this is an issue that needs to be addressed. What's happening in the world at the moment, particularly with the UK, because what happens here with the UK is going to affect, you know, Europe. It's going to affect all our lives financially here in the UK. It's going to affect our dealings with America. I think Liz Truss could probably get on okay with Biden. But I still feel until we see some really serious changes there in America, I think there's going to be it's going to be very hard for British people to make any real big deals with America. You know, I think we're going to see the end of Biden soon as well, remember, guys. So anyway, I just like to say, you know, thank you to all of you that have joined me today. Continue putting your comments below, because I love to see your comments. It stimulates me to come back on and have a few thoughts. In many respects, I think I echo what people think out there. That's why I say this is why I think the comments themselves become really interesting. So anyway, thanks for joining me today. I'll see you again soon. I'll try to do these as often as I can. Jane and I have had massive amount of work in the background. It's been really hard for us to get online at all because lots of things have been happening in our private lives. But we'll both try to get on as much as we can for you. And thanks for joining us. Keep following the channel too if you're new, guys. You know, we need followers on the channels always, because the more followers you get, the higher profile we get. And if you really want to help us a lot with our work and help us with our broadcast and help to make it easier for us to be able to broadcast, do please become a patron. We've got a few out there that are helping us. It's helping us keep the studio going. We need more help. And thank you, Ashley. Also, thank you to those of you that have actually contributed recently with helping us with the computer equipment. Absolutely great thanks to you guys. Thank you for you who helped with that. But you know, we want to take it a stage further. We want to get some more professional sort of people in to help us. That's going to take money. So if you become a patron, that would be fantastic. Okay. Oh, and get my new book. I can't leave you without telling you about things, can I? I've got a new book out called Secret Psychics. It's my old stuff in a way. It's my questions and answers that I've done over the years through the newspapers, because I used to write for some of the newspapers like the Daily Mail, and I wrote for the lots of them, Scottish Daily Record, and the women's magazines, and the People, and the Daily Mirror, and the Sunday Mirror. But some of the stories, some of the questions and answers are in there. You might enjoy it. It's on Amazon, so go and have a look. Okay, that's it. The advert's over. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to see you soon. Bye for now, folks. So, would you like to know more? Come and see my website at psychics.co.uk, where you can buy my books. You can also read lots of free articles, and you can join our patron community if you like there. You can also book readings with myself and Jane. I do readings by Zoom and by email. Jane does them one-to-one at home. So have a look on the website, you'll find all that. And you'll also find our team of readers who do international work. So you can book a psychic, a medium, an astrologer there. And they're available now for phone readings 24/7. So visit our website, psychics.co.uk. You'll find a link in the description below.